A common question we hear as real estate agents is, hey, do you think this seller would sell me their house on contract? Or another version of this same question is, hey, is this house available to rent to own? When the economy isn't doing well, like we saw a few years ago during the recession, then contract sales are pretty common. But in times like today, 2018, when the market is pretty good, then the seller is likely expecting the house to sell outright because why wouldn't it? The market is good. And they want access to their proceeds like right now versus waiting a couple of years for you to refinance your contract sale and having access to the proceeds then. So a contract sale for a seller in 2018 on a house that could actually sell for market value in a reasonable period of time is probably not the greatest investment. And the seller might need the money from selling their house today so that they can buy another house. So you never know what someone's situation is. Just because they're a homeowner doesn't mean that they can sell you their house on contract. Most loans actually require that you do not sell your house on contract. Again, when the economy is not doing well and houses aren't selling, then banks are more likely to look the other way. If you're making your payments and you sold it on contract, they're probably not going to care that much. But technically, if you have a loan on the property, you're probably breaking a rule. And that might cause some sellers to hesitate before agreeing to a contract sale. But let's say that seller was open to a contract sale. That's cool. So how does that work? Well, first, that seller is going to want some money, honey. It's typical that we see a minimum of a 10% down payment when purchasing on contract. So if the house costs $150,000, that seller is probably going to want at least $15,000. There's no rules as to how much you have to have. So it's possible the seller would want $20,000 or 20% down payment, to each his own. But that's something that you should expect as a buyer looking to purchase on contract. Expect the seller to want a hefty down payment. Also, that seller is not going to give you free money. A contract seller is probably going to want at least 2 points on top of today's interest rate. And again, there's no rules on that, so they might want even more. If today's rate is 5%, then a 7% interest on a contract sale is not unheard of. And they could even say 9% or 11%. They're the seller, so they get to do whatever they want. A contract sale might make the most sense for you today, but if you haven't talked to a real estate professional or a mortgage lender, someone who has the money to lend you, then you may be selling yourself short by not understanding all of the options that are available to you. For example, with a credit union, you might be able to buy a house with 0% down versus a pretty hefty down payment if you're purchasing on contract. There's other options where you could get a low down payment, 3%, 3.5%, 5% of the total cost of the house, and you're still going to pay a lot less on an interest rate than you would on that contract sale. So don't sell yourself short and decide that you need a contract sale before you've actually exhausted all of the options available to you. We're here to help, so feel free to contact us. You can comment on this video, you can message us on our Facebook page, or you can email me directly, Heather@myrighthouse.com, and we'll definitely find the house that you're meant to have.